my name is Sydney Andrews, and today we're going to be talking about some technical issues or just some issues that Miss Muncie is having in her classroom. Miss Muncie is a GT and AP coordinator at Hector Public Schools. She works from elementary to high school, but this lesson specifically has been designed for third graders. It could probably be applied to third, fourth, and so on, but mainly third graders. Ms. Bunchy specializes in meeting students where they are as a GT teacher and accommodating their learning experience to their learning needs and capabilities, so enhancing creativity, etc. The primary issue she faces is challenging these students that may be bored in a traditional classroom or have above average learning capabilities or have different strengths than other students. So the curriculum alignment and standards for this lesson are a history standard for third grade students, which requires them to be able to explain the historical significance of people and events through timelines. ISTE standard, the technology standard I picked was knowledge constructor and the ability to curate information. This requires students to curate information from digital resources using a variety of tools and methods to create collections of artifacts that demonstrate meaningful connections or conclusions. Let's see. The technology tools I picked were Nearpod, Common Lit, and Story Jumper. So Nearpod, this whole lesson is a Hispanic heritage lesson, which I think is very good for a GT teacher and a outside of a traditional classroom, because often teachers are so in the classroom. Teachers are so focused on meeting curriculum that they aren't really able to expand and do more information and excess information and address lessons like this. And so my Nearpod lesson I picked is a Hispanic heritage lesson. The Common Lit, which is a literacy program, reading assignment on Cesar Chavez, which obviously applies to Hispanic heritage as he was a notable figure. And then Story Jumper, we're going to get into a biography project. So our first activity is the Nearpod lesson I mentioned on Hispanic Heritage Month, and this includes a guiding question, which is really, really helpful, and then definitions of heritage, culture, what Hispanic heritage means, what Hispanic means, and videos. So our first activity within this lesson is a flag matching game. I thought this was really cool. This is an opportunity to engage students' background information and just stuff they may have learned in their normal day-to-day life, a chance for Hispanic American students to engage and show off their culture, because they're going to know, I mean, if they're from Costa Rica or Mexico, they're going to know flags better than people who were born in Arkansas would. And so it just gives a chance to show off that culture, and also for all the students to have fun and participate. After that, within that same lesson, there is a Hispanic Heritage Month video that gets into what Hispanic Heritage Month is, why it's important, why we celebrate it, all those good things. So our second activity is going to be our Common Lit article on Cesar Chavez. This is really helpful because within this reading platform, so it has our article, but within it you can click on it and you can get definitions and stuff like that. You can take notes within the platform. There are discussion questions, guiding questions, and assessment questions. The ones I picked for this lesson plan that I thought would be the most helpful are going to be the assessment questions and the discussion questions, because the discussion questions, I would like them, both questions, I would like them to write them down on a piece of paper and turn it in as a form of assessment. But I would also like to prompt discussion with asking students, those who are willing to share, how they answered. Like this question, for example, is, do you agree with Cesar Chavez's position on violence and nonviolence? And I thought that would be a very engaging way for students to engage with the material. And then third, we'll be looking at biographies using Story Jumper. So I'd first want to discuss what a biography is, what biography means. um, because this is an important milestone they're learning in third grade, and what a autobiography is versus a biography and all that kind of thing. So I would want to read to them the Sonia Sotomayor biography from Story Jumpers, to kind of introduce them to Story Jumpers, because then it would be very interesting to, after that, explain the few sessions long project they're going to be doing, which is using Story Jumper to create their own biography about a Hispanic American figure that they choose from a list that Miss Muncie will give them. And this really is really good for GT students, because it's an opportunity to be creative, and really you're researching, which is a very important thing to learn. You'll use that throughout high school and into college. So you're going to learn how to research. You're going to be able to be creative as you create something, this book, and it gives a sense of accomplishment. And I feel like GT students would really like it, really benefit it. So our list, this is I put 28 characters. Her class size is usually like 23, 25. This is not going to be a huge class. But just in case, just so there's some room for students to pick. So Lin-Manuel Miranda, a personal favorite of mine, Roberto Clemente for our sports fans, Hector Elizondo, Lori Hernandez, again, sports fans, Ellen Ochoa for science, Dolores Huerta, Emilio Estevez, another favorite, Selena Quintanilla. That's going to be a very popular one. I already know. Carlos well, it's actually Carlos Pinavega Jr. Uh, he is in a kids age big time rush, so students are going to know him probably a little bit better. Marco Rubio, politician, Frida Kahlo and Pablo Picasso, artist, Rita Hayworth, an actress, and then George Lopez, actor, director, all that good thing. Sofia Vergara, Rita Moreno, both entertainers. Alexandria Ocasio Cortez, in the government. Cleto Cordero, love Cleto Cordero. He's he's the lead singer of Flatland Cavalry. Um, Jenna Ortega, she's in the new Wednesday. Jennifer Lopez, right next to Mark Anthony. Uh, Anthony Ramos, also in Hamilton, like Lin-Manuel Miranda, Carlos Santana, Carolina Herrera for our fashion girlies, Selena Gomez. All these kids are going to know who Selena Gomez is. Shakira, Macario Garcia, Marcerio Garcia, and Kenny Ortega, who does a lot of choreography. And I've lost my mouse. There we go. So finally, our assessment I'm going to do in two parts. So assessment part one is going to be mainly on the Cesar Chavez article. So we're going to look at how students participate in the class discussion and assess that way. And then students' individual answers to the discussion questions that they will turn into Miss Muncie, and then individual answers to the assessment questions on the article. Look at reading comprehension, how students are understanding the material, and that sort of thing. And then biography project is the second part of the assessment, since this is going to be a longer, more comprehensive of the whole unit. This is where we're going to apply our standards more specifically. So our ISTE standards, we're going to look at through weekly research notes, see how they're researching, see how they're engaging online, researching, that sort of thing. Our social study standards, I mentioned previously, we're going to look at a timeline and students understanding what a timeline is and how to read one. And so for this book, I want them to include a timeline at the end of their book. And we're going to talk about the birth of their figure, what schooling, marriage, if it's applicable, and then 4 notable career accomplishments. So, and then our ISTE standard, also we're going to look at the overall execution of a book, since the Story Jumper is a online technology tool. The way they go about that book and how they set it up is going to show how well they're understanding the assignment and how well they are engaging with that standard. And that is all I have for you. If I could find my mouse. There you go.